turn right, and then turn right again along this hallway corridor, just all back to the building. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So my name is Jason Riddle. I am the franchise owner of Chick-fil-A here in the mall. My family and I have been here in Colonial Heights for going on 9 years now. It's a fantastic community. Love it here in Colonial Heights. It's really been a great place to raise a family. We have 3 boys, Sam, Nate, and Jacob. Sam's 10, Nate's 13, Jacob's 16. I'm a driver now. If you have kids and you don't have a driver, just wait until you have a driver. Great. Share the load. So anyway, we're here to talk about culture. And I just wanted to preface this, start by saying, I'm a student of this. I don't know if I'm going to teach you guys anything. In fact, what I'm talking about is really, really basic. So I'm not sure that I am going to teach you anything. But this is a journey that we've been on and are going to continue to be on. I'd love for this to be interactive. I've tried to build some things to make it interactive. Hopefully I can learn from you guys as much as you can learn from us. But anyway, so that being said, we're talking about not just culture, but a mission-driven culture. And so let's talk about that just for a second. What is culture? How do you define culture? Because that's sort of a squishy word, right? Like, how do you put parameters around that? How do you put a name on that? What is that?
It's almost like generational habits, you know.
Generational habits.
Generational habits that you conform to over time that is embedded in you as a person. You know, I mean, it creates all your values of it.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about like family culture, right? Like that's passed down from generation to generation. And it takes a lot of work to really change that stuff. Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts on culture? How would you define it?
The environment. Personalities in the environment.
Good. Yeah. Personality in the environment. That's really good. How to define it? Oxford Dictionary says the attitudes and behaviors characteristic of a particular social group. So the roots of this word come from cultivation, like to work with the soil. And I'm not I don't think of myself as someone who's able to grasp ideas really well and work with concepts. But I really thrive when it comes to concrete, conceptual, physical things that you can work with and move around. And so this idea of working with the soil, farming, that really helps me think about culture. So when I think about culture, I think about farming, and I think about what do I need to do today to till the soil, right? To move dirt, to plant a seed, and then tomorrow, what do I need to do to plant that, to water that seed, to make that seed grow? Like that idea, that really helps me think about this idea of culture. Okay, so most of what I'm going to say today came from this book right here, Scaling People. It's a book that we're working through with our leadership team. I have 3 directors on my team, and then shift leaders and trainers under them. But I spend a lot of time with the leadership team. We're reading through the book. It's she described it. If you've never heard this book or Claire Hughes Johnson, she's great. She's great, brilliant lady. She describes this book as more of a textbook than it is most other self-help books, right? That are filled with stories and you read through really easy. This is it's a little more dry, it's a little boring, but there's some great nuggets in here. And she also has a workbook that goes along with it. We've been working with the workbook. It's a fantastic book if you want to think about creating, like how to structure your organization and how to help it grow. So one of the first things that she does in this book is she talks about if you want to grow your organization, if you want to grow your leadership team, what's square one? Square one is really knowing yourself. And so the idea here is that if we don't know ourselves, we can't we can't get in other people's shoes. We can't think about things from someone else's vantage point. Does that make sense? So I thought about this, and there's so I want to give you an analogy from a new driver, or maybe my son's 16 and he's doing this thing called civil air patrol, and he's really interested in aviation. And he also just got a driver's license. So when he did his driver's license, anybody who has a driver in here? All right. Maybe you remember it was 30 hours of material that they had to go through. And I mean, if they did it in public school, we maybe didn't have that much exposure to it. We did homeschool, so we did it all, right? But so it's 30 hours worth of material. I think around 5 to 7 hours is devoted to the vehicle. So talking about seat belts and the steering wheel and the clutch if you're driving a manual vehicle, brakes, gas, like all the stuff, gauges, and then think about a pilot. I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday who got his pilot's license 15 years ago. He was telling me, he was talking to Jacob and I, my son, and just talking about the process. 40 hours, he spent 10 on the plane. 40 hours of training to become a pilot, flight time and all that stuff. 10 hours was devoted to reading gauges and and understanding the plane. So here's my point. Here's how I'm trying to connect these two ideas. If we're going to think about our organization, if we're going to think about our customers, if we're going to think about other people, we really have to start with ourselves, right? That's where we've got to understand how we think and what we're good at, where our struggles are, in order to get in someone else's shoes, because that's how we're going to make a difference in our organization, understanding people that we're working with and how they relate to us, right? Okay. So Claire Hughes Johnson in his book suggests a number of ways to get to know yourself. And I know none of this is probably new to anyone, but so she talks about work style performance. Anyone ever heard of this? If you're a developer or a promoter, basically whether or not you're task oriented, so there's this axis, whether or not you're task oriented or relationship oriented, and then on the east-west axis is introverted extroverted. And so that combination of those four axes really influence the way that we think about how we work and how we interact with people. So anyway, so that's one resource you can look for. DISC is another one, Myers-Briggs. Really, those are really common. The Insight Discovery Platform. I'm not familiar with this one. I haven't looked into this one yet. That's one she recommends. And then she doesn't recommend this one, but this is we've done this one. The Richmond Market get-togethers, all the Chick-fil-A's. We've done the Working Genius with Patrick Lencioni. Everybody know that name? No. Okay. Some yes, some no. He's a great author. He wrote 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. You've heard that book? Yeah. Right. And it's, one of his latest is the Working Genius, and it's a great book. It really talks about different work styles, and so that's a great recommendation. And as far, can I send you the slide deck?
Absolutely.
All right, so you guys will have access to the slide deck. So, all right, so let's talk about mission. Once we, excuse me. So where we started so far? We talked about knowing ourselves, and so you definitely want to spend some time doing that. I want to be really careful to say we're never going to arrive, right? We're never going to know ourselves so well that I've arrived. Now I can start working on mission. That's not what I'm talking about. That's obviously not what I'm trying to communicate. That knowing yourself, that's a constant process. I've been reading a lot about different CEOs and how they spend time each day, 15 minutes each day, thinking about their strengths, just constantly reflecting on their strengths, reflecting on the strengths and abilities of the people around them, and how those people fit in the organization and how they work together to get the job done, right? So I definitely want to make sure that I made that connection. When you're discovering your own strengths and thinking about yourself, the next step to think about your mission as an organization is, it's kind of I can't tell you when to start. I think you start it all at the same time, but definitely you want to make sure you're constantly going back to the self-discovery part. And then that in turn will influence and tweak and alter your mission and everything underneath it. Anyway, so let's talk about mission for a second. So the mission drives what we do, right? It controls and drives what we do. And so here's the question. Who in here feels like they have a strong mission for themselves or for their company? Great, tell me about it.
I don't know what it is. But I'm with the group on Thursday mornings with the chamber, and we've started writing out our missions. We've written out like our plans and stuff within our organization. So we spent time kind of just going through what we need to do for our mission, and then what steps do we need to do. So that 12-week year is what we're going through now.
Yeah.
And this is part of one of the things we're going through. So I'm in the process of going through that, but I don't really have a defined mission because it's changing. I don't know if you put a pencil mark on it and say, you know what, I'm stuck. This is my mission.
Yeah.
I think it's just like culture and anything else. It's got to be something that you live and breathe, and it's got to be able to flex.
Sure.
So I don't know that it's written in stone in my opinion.
In your organization. Okay, that's good.
And I remember Kevin Strauss and I were meeting when they said your mission is important. But yes, it's important. What is it? Nobody. And I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We should know our mission by heart so that we don't have to reflect.
Right.
We know it.
I believe it's important, and I hope that. So, but what I'm about to say, I'm going to talk about my family for a second, and then I hope if you guys see my wife or my kids, they could actually tell you this, but I don't know if they will. Anyway, so we have a mission as a family, and we created the mission hangs up in our house, right? To be the hands and feet of Jesus. So it's really simple, right? It's really easy. It's kind of catchy, easy to remember. And then we came up with these values. We had a friend of ours do this for us. So the foundation of our house. This is, again, going back to like physical concepts instead of abstract ideas. Like, I get this. This is the way my brain works. So our foundation of the house is faith in Christ. Like that's where it all starts. That's what everything else is built on. And if it's built on anything else, it's not very strong. It's how I view the world. And then we've got the walls of the house. Everything in the house and above the house is built on the walls, and the walls are honesty. So without honesty, without us being truthful and honest and and transparent with each other, all this other stuff doesn't have any stand. Doesn't have a way to stand. The roof is obedience. So I think of this as there's a psalm that talks about the boundary lines have fallen for me in good and pleasant places, and it's this idea that God's law it's safe inside that, and outside of God's law is dangerous, right? It's hazardous to be outside of the boundary lines because bad things are going to happen out there. And so I think about it like an umbrella almost. It's safe and dry under the umbrella, but outside the umbrella, that's where you get wet. So obedience is the roof, and then gratitude is the window. Gratitude lets light in. So we need to constantly be giving gratitude and saying thanks because that lets otherwise we're shutting out the good things and they're there. The light's going to shine. Do we have the windows to let it in? And gratitude is the window that lets it in. And then kindness or generosity lets people into our space. Anyway, so this is we got our mission statement and our values. And then I'm gonna, well, let me, all right, let's talk about this just for a minute further. So definition, how you define a mission? Anybody want to take a shot?
What my resume? Don't look at me.
What's your focus is?
Where your focus is? Good.
Your purpose?
Your purpose? Great. That's really good.
What gets you up to go to work every morning, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Claire Hughes Johnson puts this definition on it. It's page 62 of the book. Missions are descriptive and aspirational. They're descriptive in that they should be uniquely specific, so no other organization can have your mission. They're aspirational, and that it's unlikely you'll ever succeed. So that's her idea. If you have these two elements to your mission statement, it's unique to you, right? Because no one else can do it, and then it's aspirational. You never get this. So I'm gonna do an experiment. I feel safe with this one. I feel safe with this. Tony, can you tell me what our mission statement is here at South Park Mall?
To be Colonial Heights' most caring company.
Okay. So to be Colonial Heights' most caring company. So it's descriptive. I guess someone else could have that definition. Once you get down to our values, that's where we're different from anybody else. But in our mission statement, that is kind of, maybe it's a little vague, but it's aspirational. We're never going to get there, right? I know that. That's where we want to be, but we're never really going to get there. Okay.
But I think you're wrong, because I think when anybody looks at Chick-fil-A, and especially your location, having the delivery service that you physically deliver, and not, through, a Grubhub or something like that, and having, the delivery service outside to the curb, and, being that catalyst at COVID to start that, and, just even when you come inside of here, I mean, anytime anybody goes into Chick-fil-A, that you're going to hear it was your pleasure.
Yeah.
And so, and just seeing you here grinding every day, and getting your team members to do the same thing, and I mean, like I said, me and Bev talk about it every time we leave here, and we eat here probably 3-4 times a week because of Dylan. So, but I mean, every one of his team members has a big smile on their face, and they're outgoing to try to make sure that your experience with Chick-fil-A was the best that they could possibly be.
I really appreciate that. I feel really fortunate to have Tony and Peter on the front lines making that happen. And I know those guys are awesome at what they do and providing the hospitality. But still, I mean, that's a big goal to be Colonial Heights most caring. To have everyone in Colonial Heights say, "Oh, Chick-fil-A South Park Mall, they're the most caring of any company in Colonial Heights." That might be a stretch because they're, but that's our goal, right?
And I think sometimes we could achieve that mission with certain people that visit us or things like that, but I think the even maybe more important thing to remember is that you're never done.
Right.
Like, you still have to achieve it the next day, the next day,
So
the next day.
that's totally true. That's exactly what we should say. So we're gonna play a game for a second. I have some of these mission statements are old. Some are current. On the left, and then on the right, you've got the company logo, and you pair them up. If you, so we'll start with number one. Shout it out. Microsoft. That's right. To connect the world professionals, to make the production. LinkedIn. That's right. To organize the world's information. Google. That's right. To inspire and nurture the human spirit. One. Start. All right. To refresh the world, inspire moments. Right. To save people money so they can live better lives. And to be the world's most caring company. Yeah.
South Park.
South Park.
Right.
So, it's one thing for these companies to have these mission statements, right? And it's another for them to actually do it. How do they do it? How do you think that they get their employees bought into Riddle?
I think from a leadership standpoint, like top down, and then I've always
Like
told the best leadership is by example, right? So if like, for example, you run and own this place, but you don't mind cooking a sandwich, you don't mind taking care of a customer.
Sure,
And
clean in the bathroom.
you know, so no job is beneath you, so that shows you like,
Yeah.
I do care, and I'm not just sitting back, right? You've had managers that will just sit back and watch everyone else struggle, like that's your job, but knowing that this is your place, and so it comes from top leadership. So
Right.
if you're not coming in on time, you're not showing you're caring, why would Peter or Tony want to be caring? You keep
Right.
saying this, but they're just words with no intentions for it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So, yeah, by being what's the word I'm looking for? Having integrity with what you're saying, I guess. Yeah, that's good.
I think filtering even small decisions, big decisions through
Good.
mission.
Yep.
When you have something in front of you and you're thinking about how to attack it or answer the question, always filtering it for the mission goal
Yeah, yeah.
is really important.
Yeah, that's good.
One thing I'll throw out there is trying to make sure you guys, your Chick-fil-A, when you're not here, that still continues. So it's not like you got to be here to make it work,
Right.
which I think is fabulous with your company, with what you guys are doing. And I think a lot of these companies, you've got to ingrain it into the employees that whether the boss is there, the owner's there, whoever's in your managers are there, this is what you're going for. And
Yeah.
so it takes a leg on its own while you're gone, if you go on vacation, if you're sick, whatever it is, COVID, all that kind of stuff that happens. That right there defines your culture and kind of how you're going to handle your mission.
That's good. And I think everything you guys have said so far is totally true. Ray, you stepped on what I want to move to next is the idea that, like, I think the place to start with getting this in your culture is that people know it, right? So thank you, Tony, for knowing our mission statement. I appreciate it. And we didn't prompt that, by the way. Like people, so it has to be written out, it has to be clear, and people have to know it, right? Because if they don't know it, then what do they know? They don't know what they're chasing. But I think that when you have something that is aspirational, that's descriptive, and people know it, and then you've got to live it out, right? You've got to filter the decisions through the mission, like all those things. Then that's when a mission statement becomes more living in an organization, and that's when you really shape the culture around the mission statement. Anyway, that's good. Okay, so 2-minute mission drill. Let's take 2 minutes. And if you guys don't have a mission statement written out, we're not going to, I want to be really clear. We're not going to achieve this right now. Like, I know that. However, it could be a brainstorming session where you get a couple things done, right? Or you get some ideas on paper where you can go back to your organization and really, further craft and create something that you really like and want to stick with. You also, let's say that you're not in a position to create your company's mission statement. Do one for yourself. Do one for your division. Something that we're working on right now is we've got, so to be Colonial Heights Carrying Company, that's our organization's mission statement. But Tony and Tiffany and Ashton, those guys, those are my directors. They're working on mission statements for their areas of responsibility, for the people that are under them. All right, so go ahead and take a couple minutes and let's write some stuff down. And I'll let you know when 2 minutes is up. This is gonna go fast. 30 seconds left. Write down ideas.
All right, we need a refresher course.
You three are working together, that's.
It's a team.
Yes.
Well, how much has the mission changed with y'all since you're stepping away and Ashley taking the helm?
Just talk about that a little bit, but-
She's already written a new one.
No rating.
All right. Hopefully that was productive. And again, not that we're going to get anything, wordsmithed in 2 minutes, but maybe you got some ideas down either for personal or for business, and you can take that and work on it more later. And then going back to mission again. One of the things I just want to reiterate one thing John said. When in times in my life where I've had a direction and really clear goals, I feel myself more energized, more excited, more productive. And then in other times where I feel like I don't have a mission and goals, I'm floundering and I don't know what I'm doing, and energy's low. Anyway, so just a couple of plugs on why that's important.